Hey everybody, this is Bradley Benner with Semantic Mastery, and today's webinar is called Taking the Mystery Out of iframe and JavaScript Link Manipulation. And I've got my partner Marco on with me, as well as Tony Peacock from Video Marketing Group.
Hi guys.
Hey guys. Hey Tony, how are you?
Good mate, good.
Well, good, glad to have you on. And Marco, how are you?
Good, man. What's going on?
We started just a minute early, so we'll give this just a moment for everybody to pile in. I know Marco is going to be giving the bulk of the presentation. I'm just here for moral support. This is more Marco's department than mine, so he's our mad scientist and the one that comes up with all this crazy stuff, and then he teaches me, and then I just run with it. So, so I'm just here in the background for support. We're going to turn it over to Marco and let you run with that, and obviously Tony's going to have some things to contribute along the way as well.
Yeah. You know, Tony's actually the guy who talked me into doing this, man. who said, you know, why he just looking for ways to strengthen, you know, what he's doing with videos, and then he has so many people in his group who do video marketing, but not only video marketing, man, and people just want to know why. And so for those people who want to know why, this is it. Not only that, you know, we had a lot of comments about white hat, gray hat. We're gonna get into all that stuff, man. You know how I am with that.
There are no hats.
There you go.
So Tony's the one to blame for you giving away the farm on this
webinar. Yeah, man. He talked me into it. So as soon as you're ready, just turn it over to me, and we'll get going.
All right. Looks like we got almost 200 people registered for this, so this is actually going to be a pretty good webinar. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Marco. I'm going to lock the screen on you if you want to grab it and get in the presentation. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself. If you need anything, just holler at me, and I'll jump back on.
Cool. Let me share my screen. Let me know where you can see it.
I can see it.
Let me know if you can see the full screen.
Yep, it's good.
We good? Okay. So, my name is Marco Benavides, and as you guys probably know, or for those of you who don't know me, I am a partner and one of the founders in SemanticMastery.com. Tony Peacock has been with us also for quite a while. He's a member in good standing of RYS Academy. He has also been in our Semantic Mastery Mastermind. And, you know, as I said, he talked me into doing this, into revealing some secrets that other people just aren't willing to share. And so the other people involved in Semantic Mastery are, of course, my partner Bradley, who's here as my right-hand man, Adam Moody, Hernan Vasquez, and Christopher Pillwine. Now let's get into this. You know, which hat do you want to wear? I refuse to get into this which hat to wear controversy, because as far as I'm concerned, you either manipulate or you don't. You either wait until Google finds, indexes, and categorizes and ranks your web property, and starve while you're waiting, or you can force Google to index and rank your property, right? Google is the biggest manipulator in the industry. Don't get it wrong, man. They are an do as I say, not as I do company. That's their game. I'm going to give you a perfect example. Google says that cloaking or overlaying is totally against their terms of service, and websites that engage in this activity will automatically get de-indexed when they're discovered. Ask Bradley about getting cloaked and overlaid sites de-indexed. Now, here's the caveat, right? If you use Google's own properties, they will do the cloaking for you. And you know, this is something that we do on a regular basis inside RYS Academy, which I'll talk about more later. You know, I wish I had more time to get into the game that Google's playing, but I want you to have as much information as possible so that you guys know what it is that you're up against and how you can get around it. I'll give you another example. I was inside my AdSense account. It wasn't that much. I shared this with another group. It's like $5,000–6,000 that I was doing. And I was trying to get something from not appearing on the screen, and I got a suggestion from Google to go in incognito so that I wouldn't see the message. Now here I am, signed into AdSense on a browser. Google telling me to go cloak, so right, to go incognito, so I did, while I was still signed in. And I went into the Access account, did what I had to do, went back, and it was perfect. I changed the mailing address, which is what I was trying to do for my account. So while I was doing that, I had in Chrome, I had another account open, and I was looking at analytics. I was doing a whole bunch of other stuff. So for those of you who fear Google, who fear the white hat, the black hat, oh my God, am I going to get caught? I don't care. So who am I? And why should it matter to you? And just so you know, I do have a degree in computer programming. I've never really used it because it's mostly legacy programs that I learned. I've been working online since mid-2003 just about, and I am an unrepentant manipulator. You can't get me to change for anything in the world because I do the same thing that Google does. And I've been manipulating results since around the end of 2004. And, you know, here's the fact. I've been making a very good living online for nearly 15 years. And you don't last this long in this industry unless you know how to drive traffic to a property and convert that traffic. As I said before, you either wait for Google to rank or you force Google to rank. It's up to you. You manipulate or you don't. Good luck if you don't. Now, back to the top, and let's go to basic. What's an algorithm? I know some of this is very basic for some of you guys, but I want you guys to understand the essence of this. And this is that an algorithm is a simple step-by-step description of a process. And each step is supposed to be described explicitly in the algorithm, in the step-by-step instruction. And it should require absolutely no judgment. This is done so you can solve a problem or a class of problems. And any computer program is an algorithm, actually. And it's written in a specific programming language: HTML, PHP, C++, .NET, JavaScript, CSS is a computer program, works on algorithm. You know, there's a host of others, but this is just basic stuff, right? On computer algorithms, coding, just as a background. I started tinkering on a friend's IBM. It was a PCAT, if you can remember that far back, 1984, I think it was. And back then it was around $4,000. He got it as a college graduation present from one of his uncles. It was actually more expensive than a car back then. So talk about having a great present. As I said before, I do have a degree in computer programming, legacy programs like BASIC, Pascal, Fortran, and COBOL. And if you guys can do any legacy programming, you can actually go into the workforce right now, and you can start out at around 90 to 125K a year. There's legacy programs in operation that require migrating from COBOL to C#, and you get paid just a boatload of money if you can do this. And if you can get government clearance, now imagine you can go into the government programs, banks, a lot of countries, their banks run on these legacy programs that have to be migrated. So it's just great to do. It's not something that I really enjoy, which is I don't get into it, and I can make more money doing what I do than having to work 9 to 5 for someone that, you know, I don't know how they're going to treat me. I don't know if I'm going to like it. It's a ton of things involved, right? So anyway, just to get back, when presented with a problem to be solved through a computer program, a programmer's job is first and foremost to formulate an algorithm which will solve that problem, and then convert it into a programming language so that it can be executed or carried out by a computer, right? Now, the more variables that are coded, or conditionals, excuse me, that are coded into an algorithm, then the less accurate that the algorithm becomes by definition. This is something that you need to get really clear in your mind. The more variables that you work into it, the more conditionals, the less accurate the algorithm becomes. When you're trying to do something like this, it's like trying to code judgment into a machine, and machines can have no judgment. All that can be applied is the code for a given situation. So let's just take something really simple, right? This is a variable that's written in BASIC, and what's supposed to happen here is a number is inserted. If the number is less than 0, then it's going to print that it's a negative number. If it's greater than 0, it's going to print that it's a positive number. And if the number is 0, it's going to tell you the number is 0. And that's the end. So do you see on here everything that you have to do just for this little bit of code to figure out if the number is less than, greater than, or equal to 0, right? Now imagine just having to do this over and over and over for every little situation that's happened. This is what the Google coders are faced with on a day-to-day basis, having to try to tinker with all of these situations that you could possibly face them when you go in and you try to look at a page, a web page, and to look at it against other web pages and decide where this page should rank in reference with everything else that's on the web. Now, this isn't very different from what happens inside IFTTT. We're very familiar with how IFTTT works because it's the foundation for IFTTT SEO v2.0. It's the foundation for what we do at Semantic Mastery for our SEO. Now, again, the complexity of Google's algorithm, and the problem is, if you want to just try to imagine it in your head, it's not that there's different algorithms. The coders, they got together and they wrote a program that would determine how to rank a given document in search, right? And different teams work on different sections of the code. But the work is segmented so that no one single team can ever have access to the entire code, and that's for obvious reasons, right? If someone can get hold of the entire code or the way which documents are ranked, then it would be worth billions of dollars in the black market, right? Think about it, guys. No one person, or if there is one person who has access to everything, that person is probably watched 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here's something interesting. Although we don't have access to the entire code, we do get a window into the code because Google's a publicly traded company, so any of its patent filings and granted patents are a matter of public record. So this is how we know whether the information, or how you can know whether the information that I'm giving you is accurate. And this is where I come in. Because I posted recently, well, not recently, it was back in December of last year in the SM blog, and I admitted that I'm a total Google patent geek. I actually have alerts when Google either files a new patent or is granted a new patent with certain keywords in it. Right? I get it, and I want to be all over it because I enjoy this. This is what I live for. And the reason for this is I can go in there and read the patents, the filings, and the granted patents, and see what Google is trying to do. They're telling you this is where we are. It's kind of like Google patent investigation reporting, right? Who, what, where, when, how, and why. But to me, most importantly, is how. The rest is there, but how and why. That's what interests me, man. That's what drives me. That's what gets me going in the morning. I get up and I want to know. I want to know what's new. I want to know what's going on. I want to know how to move Google to rank me. So, don't let me tell you about it. You go and you can spend the countless hours that I spend going through Google patents yourself. You can get all of the necessary information, or attend a webinar like this one, right? And get the latest from me. It's your choice.
I'll take the second option, please.
Okay, so enough about this, man. Let's get down to the gritty nitty, as I say. Now, something that we need to understand is that the algorithm was tweaked a few years ago so that JavaScript could be read or understood better when a website is crawled or spidered by Gbot. Now, Google's been crawling iframes ever since I can remember. I used iframe back in, I think I've shared in 2005 to rank client sites for just about any keyword they wanted, man. It was so simple. And the point is that they're working even better now. What they did when they made this tweak is they opened up a Pandora's box, because it created a door that's wide enough for anyone with simple or even no coding skills to manipulate the shit out of, man. excuse me, I get excited. I start dropping all kinds of F-bombs. If you have delicate sensibilities, close your eyes.
You mean your ears?
No, you can kill this without worrying about being penalized, man. Here's the thing. That's a bold statement, I know, but everything I've been testing, which involves using exact match keyword anchors, exact match keyword spamming, exact match keyword relevancy, duplicate content on the same web property, which they say you cannot do without canonicalizing, and just a whole lot more. They say I can't do it. I'm telling you, I can do it, and you can do it. And it just shows, what I've been doing just shows that I don't have to worry about penalties as long as I follow some simple guidelines. And how can I be sure? Google trusts and loves itself. It's the ultimate case of narcissism. Not only that, if Google were to decide to police itself, it would have to revert tons of coding it has already done to look for all kinds of ways to penalize the unrepentant manipulators like me. However, if Google reverts everything, it has to kill off the way it tracks analytics, YouTube embeds, and a bunch of other Google properties which use embedding as a way to spread the word. And one of the keys for you video marketers, or for anyone that's trying to rank a property, is embeds. Embeds are simple iframes. And this is what this is all about. If they were to change the way that it looks now at JavaScript and iframes, it would have to change its core ranking methodology and then try to program the machine to make a judgment call on when Google should trust or not trust itself. So do you see what an arduous task this would be? How can you get a machine to make a judgment call when it's hard enough for a human being to do so? Again, a computer or a machine by definition has no judgment. Not only that, there's countless people and entities using Google for purposes very legitimate and other than SEO. We have to remember that Google has to answer to a higher authority. Now, Google has a lot of weight inside this authority, which is the W3C, and most of you should get really familiar with the W3C. I spent tons of time in there too. It's the policing body of the web, right? Sir Tim Berners-Lee is the head of that, and Google answers to the W3C, not the other way around. Google can't, they can go in there and throw their weight around. They have a lot of weight, but there are tons of legitimate entities around the web using Google properties and platforms, and the combined weight of these institutions and organizations is as much, if not more, than Google's. So always remember this when you set out to manipulate, right? Now let's talk about testing. Sorry. And I just want you to know that I'm not feeding you suppositions or inferences. I'm referred to as the mad scientist, but Bradley's the one who started calling me the mad scientist at Semantic Mastery because of my constant tinkering and daily attempts to break shit, right? I live for this, as I said. I wake up every morning with the sole purpose of trying to make Google puke. I mean, and that's serious, man. I'm serious about this. But it's not just me. Our entire team, and I know Tony also does a lot of testing, but we're constantly testing in the lab. Bradley's very fond of saying, as a matter of fact, that membership has its privileges. And what I take that to mean is that we have a commitment and duty to deliver tested, verified results so that our members can just go and apply our strategies to whatever it is that they're doing and get the same results we do. We don't want our membership to pay for something that we think might work, right? We have to take the guessing out of it as much as we can. And we certainly don't want to be like other marketers, right, who keep repackaging the same old bullshit they know doesn't work. So, man, no, don't get me started. I get rambling on this because I get upset, I get angry. I see the way that they're hoodwinking the industry. But it's our fault, right? Because we open ourselves up for this type of bullshit and manipulation. And here's the thing. There's people out there who know this shit doesn't work, but they just repackage that garbage because they know most of you, and I include myself in this, you will go out and buy the shiny new object, right? Many of us continue to chase the next best whatever. Once we stop chasing the next best and start demanding results, they're going to quit feeding us garbage. So anyway, There's also people out there who know what works and that the stuff they're selling actually doesn't work, but they're marketers. They don't care. All they want to do is get you to buy. They could care less about knowing what works or whether they're selling results or whatever it is. They don't care. They just want to sell. Now, at Semantic Mastery, and I'm sure I can include Tony in this, we're proud to say that we give you no fluff, just the good stuff. Verified real-world results, shit that has been put through the ringer and that we know works. We test so you don't have to.
You have to ask yourself, where a lot of the products that are being sold, the developers, where is their main source of income coming from? Is it from the products themselves that they're selling, or is it from using those products in their core business, if that makes sense? So a lot of the products that are actually developed and released to the internet marketing crowd are from product developers that their core business model is developing and launching products instead of using those products to run an actual business with which those products were intended to serve, if that makes sense. So, you've got to always ask yourself prior to purchasing the shiny object is to the validity of the developers. Like, are they qualified to be selling a product in that particular field? Are they actually using that for their core business model, or is it just a product that they're launching to the unsuspecting IM crowd? And that's something that Marco was just basically saying. I mean, we all in Semantic Mastery, we all have our own businesses, and we provide services to clients of various, in various industries. But our core business is our own agencies outside of Semantic Mastery. We are also in the product development space now. But again, we all run our own agencies outside of Semantic Mastery, so we actually drink our own Kool-Aid, and that's really what we're getting to.
You're not ivory tower guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony, and that's my point. We're in the trenches every day, day to day, man. We live this. I'm not a marketer, man. You don't ever see me out there just pushing product after product after product after product. That's not me. I'm here, here I am, just giving you just a bunch of free information that I hope when we get to the end, you're going to see the value. It's free. Please, if you don't want to buy anything that's Semantic Mastery related, don't. You don't have to. As a matter of fact, I'm not selling you anything. But I do want to talk to you some more about Google Love, right? And our RYS Academy, which I keep mentioning because it actually came about from a challenge. I mentioned to someone that with iframes being read the way they are, and with Google tweaking the way that JavaScript was crawled, it was going to be really easy to rank. And someone said to me that there's no way that anyone could rank as easy as it was back in 2005 or before 2005. And I said, I'm sure it can be done. So my research and testing into this began around May of 2014, which was around the time when Google announced that it was trying to find a better way to interpret JavaScript. I think there was a Google post. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was around then. And then I got really deep in the rabbit hole after a conversation I had with the person I consider to be the best SEO in the industry, and that's Mike Pierce. I want total transparency, and I want to give credit where credit is due, because this was around November of 2014. We're always talking in Skype. We're going back and forth with tests and results and just different things that we're doing. And he mentioned that he was testing G sites and pushing power, I remember he mentioned, through Twitter. But he was manually uploading content into G sites. And what I said to him was that I was looking into Google properties also, and that I thought that the way in which G sites were populated with content could be auto-updated or at least semi-automated. And then after all, we're the IFTTT SEO guys, right? So if we can't find a way to automate it, then we're in trouble. But we didn't release the final product until August of 2015. So we're talking about 15 months of intense research and testing. And testing which has continued to today. I'm still deep in it, pushing the boundaries. But the foundation of it all is just shoving exact match duplicate content relevancy down Big G's throat and making the algorithm like it. Now, of course, I'm turning SEO on its head, right? I'm telling you everything that you're not supposed to do, you can actually do. But I'm not just telling you. We've tested it, we've proven it, we're ranking with it, and it's getting better. And this is where my testing for embeds in JavaScript came in, and what led me to understand how they're being actually interpreted by the algorithm, how Google is taking it into account, how it's being applied so that it comes back to whatever the source is. And for you VMG guys, right, the video marketing group, Tony's guys, this is why his gigs are so powerful. This is a no-pitch webinar again, and I'm not trying to sell you anything, not his gigs or any semantic mastery product or service. Don't buy our shit, right, unless you want to rank your shit, which is what RYS stands for in the first place. And so, but at any rate, if you're looking to add power, and I take power to mean in niching, right, finding the niche, the relevancy, the trust, the transparency, and directing all that, pushing it out to properties that are trusted again by Google, and then having it come back to your channel playlist or videos, then his gigs actually do that, man. They give the videos, the channel or the playlist the shot they require because they trigger what I call the positive sectors or sections of the algorithm. And yes, if you can trigger the negative sections of the algorithm, right, Panda and Penguin, you can also trigger the positive factors, and I've come to call that the Google tickle, right? Most of you who are not familiar with building trust and transparency worry about triggering Panda and Penguin, and yes, you should rightly so worry about it. If you trigger either of those sections of the algorithm, you're headed for disaster, and you will have tons of work trying to recover. And in fact, if you get hit with either penalty, my advice is always to start over. Of course, if it's a client site, you can't. If it's client owned, then the client will probably want to recover their brand because it's probably their livelihood. This is why we need to be testing all the time, not on client properties, not on anything we care about, but just throwaway stuff that we can just say, okay, it got penalized and I kept real good records and I know why it happened and I can duplicate it. And when you can replicate the event that got you hit is when you know what not to do to get it hit, if that makes sense. And again, since there are many people that are into video marketing, I'm also going to warn you about triggering the Google Dance and the Google Dance sandbox, because Google finally admitted what we've known for a long time, right? That there is a sandbox. And if your video or web property is ranking and then begins dancing after its initial ranking, then you can't do anything out of the ordinary to the dancer. And you have to pay special attention to link building during this phase. You can't do any of it. Google triggers the dance to see who goes out and starts trying to recover the rankings. They know that SEOs are an impatient lot, right? And we immediately start manipulating to try to recover rankings, and wham, you've sprung the trap. You can't build any links to it during the dance, or you get sandboxed permanently. And I think Tony can attest to that, right? Tony?
Yeah, I've got a few videos. No matter what I do, I can't budge them.
Okay, what should you do? Nothing out of the ordinary. It takes 21 days just about for the Google Dance to clear, and the video or property should recover its rankings, and in fact, most of the time it ranks even better. And yes, believe it or not, it's still all about links. Anyone who says it isn't doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. It's in the top 3 ranking factors. Google admitted it. It won't say whether it's 1, 2, or 3, but I would, the way I'm seeing it, the algorithm react to links and link building, it's still number 1.
Yeah, the qualifier is, and you may have this in the next slide, so forgive me, but the qualifier is not the quantity of links, it's about quality and relevancy, right?
Correct.
Right, so you're better off having, you know, a handful of links or 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever than 200,000 of just crap.
Yes.
Right.
Quality and relevancy are the key metrics now for links.
Right.
I'm sorry, Marco, I didn't mean to hijack it, man. Go ahead.
No problem. I like it. I like this back and forth. I just want people to understand that it's still all about links, and it's going to continue to be about links for the next 3 to 5 years until Google decides to redo the entire algorithm. So armed with that knowledge, you also know that there's actually a way to positively influence the rankings. If there's a negative way, then there's a positive way. And you all know that, or you should know, we just mentioned it, that a quality link carries much more weight than garbage links on a garbage site built for the purpose of building that link, right? Relevancy, as Bradley mentioned. So we're talking about link quality and relevancy rather than link quantity. And relevancy is just as important in the quality of that link as anything else. So this is also the way to do things so that you don't have to worry about triggering furry black animals or getting stuck in a fucking sandpit, man. And it's the foundation of IFTTT SEO, right? It's the reason why we work why what we do works so damn well. Why what Tony's doing works so damn well, and it's the reason why all our products and services work so well. We provide the algorithm information that creates a positive trigger. So what type of positive signals am I talking about triggering? I'm talking about triggering trust rank. How much transparency and trust have you established on the web, right? Creating trust rank. Seasonal is very important also, which this goes after the special dates, Mother's Day, Father's Day, July 4th. The Olympics are coming up. Anything that can be worked around a specific date or a group of dates creates a seasonal trigger. The freshness, which means posting unique, relevant content with regular updates. You guys know all this. You can trigger RankBrain, so because RankBrain looks for meaning behind words. So you approach this in a conversational manner. You ask and answer questions. You can also trigger the distance graph, how far you are from trusted sources. And in the semantic web, and in one of the latest patents, it's all about becoming a seat site or a seat set, and being as close to that as possible. Create it or get next to it. Either way, the further away you are from trusted sources, the less important your link becomes. And this is what I call PBN atrophy. You all see this in your PBNs. Over time, the link that you have on that PBN loses power, and that's because it's out there doing nothing except providing a link to whatever it is that you're doing. You can also trigger topical trust and relevancy, right? Now, notice I didn't say trust flow or topical trust flow because those are majestic terms. Topical trust means establishing that you have some relevancy in your niche, right? You can't just post a whole bunch of garbage and expect to establish topical trust. You also establish topical trust by getting links from relevant sources and by linking out to relevant sources, right? And that leads to trust and transparency. I'm not going to go too much into detail into this because this is part of the semantic web validation, and I know that my guy Mike Pierce and Angel Cruz are coming out with training on building entities. I don't want to step on their toes, but I will tell you this: whatever training Mike Pierce comes out with, I'm getting it. So, guys.
Yeah.
Marco, are you still there? Shit, it looks like we lost his audio. Let me ping him on Slack.
Definitely Michael Pierce and Angel know their SEO, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know they're working on some stuff.
Be on the lookout.
Marco, are you back on? Hello? Sorry, Tony, did you hear? Was Marco just talking a second ago?
Yeah, I could hear him very, very briefly.
No audio. Well, I can't pick up the Slack because I don't have the presentation available, and this is his baby anyways.
Yeah, I can sort of add a little bit. You know, he's talking about like you know, trust and relevancy and stuff like that, frequency. What I think happens a lot of the time is that in the past people have created, you know, sites, and maybe they've just got a little bit of content on there or a couple of pages, and then of course nothing ever happens to that thing. And so, oh, you're back.
Yeah, Tony, please finish what you were saying.
Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed with the gigs that I'm doing is because I'm often submitting over and over to the same blogs, these blogs are active, you know, so and there's also, you know, trust flow that I'm sending to the videos and the YouTube channels, and I think this is all tying in with what Marco's talking about. So, you know, when Google sees all this trust and it sees activity, it sees new content being added, it's kind of like waving some food in front of the dog or saying, come on, here's the bone. You know?
Well, it's the relevancy too, though, because you keep reinforcing the theme of those networks, because you keep pushing more content out that's relevant to that specific niche, right? And so that there's the freshness factor, the relevancy, creating the trust, the activity. There's a lot of those things that you're triggering there, like what Google or Marco says is the Google. You know, we're tickling Google. We're giving it the Google tickle.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I think the training that Mike and Angel have come up with actually goes into how to create a seed site, and then if you know how to create a seed site, you know how to create a seed set. And especially if you're into IFTTT, SEO, I mean, this is what we do. We create entities, and the semantic web is all about validating who you are as far as the person, place, or thing.
I'm looking at the comments, guys. Sorry, I got to read a couple of these. He said, Daniel said, "Rest in peace, Marco. Google raided his home. That's why you dropped out." free Marco from the iframe prison, and then man down.
That's good.
I can't see any of these comments.
They're on the event page. If you don't have the event page, I'll drop it in.
Let me know when I can grab the screen again.
Yeah, go ahead and grab the screen. I'll lock it on you and get back into the presentation. Enough goofing off.
Cool. Let me know when you can see it, full screen and all.
All right, you're good.
I'm good to go. So, anyway, there's a host of other factors that you can take into account when you're trying to trigger the positive aspects of the algorithm. But what you're trying to do is build a ranking score. Again, I'm not telling you this. It's in the patent. This is what Google's using to replace PageRank. So their guess is that building a manipulated ranking score is a whole lot more difficult than manipulating PageRank. Because a ranking score, like PageRank before, is actually based on getting follow links from trusted sources. And that's what, so think about it. If you get follow links from trusted sources, they're saying you can be trusted. Whereas no follow, because it was created by Google, does not pass that trust. We're not talking about power. We're not talking about link juice. We're talking about trust here. Trust is going to become, I mean, the absolute ranking factor. And it's going to be called a ranking score, right? Your trust is going to be your ranking score. So you have to know how to get follow links from seed sites. And we're talking about Twitter, Facebook, Crunchbase, WordPress.org, Gravatar, Google, YouTube, and so on. But these are all websites that have no follow by default, right? So how can you do follow links from there? Well, you know, we figured out how. And Google guessed wrong when they said you couldn't manipulate it, because I figured out how to get follow links from all of the above and then some. I've also figured out how to create my own seed sets and seed sites in my niche with total relevancy without having to go beg people for links or buying links or having to do all this other stuff that we usually have to do. Now, how it's done, again, I'll leave that to Mike and his gang, but guys, IFTTT version 2.0, that's exactly what it does. And the more you have to understand now, and I'm about to get into iframes, that the more they try to plug holes, the easier they make it to manipulate and rank. You just have to have enough patience and get into this deep enough to figure out how. If you know what and how Google is doing it, then you can go and feed it and shove it down Google's throat as much as you want. And I mean, if you see some of the stuff that I'm doing, I'm feeding it some massive garbage, and it's ranking. So,
Marco, can I just for the guys that aren't sort of like as advanced, and which is me included,
sure.
If I understand it correctly, like Google's been around for quite a while, and over the years it's kind of been developing this algorithm, and they have different teams, and you know, maybe they worked on the algorithm in 2004 to handle this stuff that, you know, like us black hatters were doing or whatever. Then they changed it in 2008. Then there was another change. Then there was another change, and now we're in 2016. And so stuff that they did back in 2004 or whatever, it's now broken.
Not necessarily broken. They just, whatever they did to try to patch it, they went to another section of the algorithm and opened it back up.
Right. So there's kind of like a bucket with little holes all over the place, and the water's actually dripping out.
There you go. And all that water dripping out is my garbage. So, okay. So, what are iframes?
Okay, so we're getting into the secrets now, yeah?
Here we go. What are iframes? Iframes are just HTML documents which are embedded inside other HTML documents, right? So, iframes and embeds are one and the same for our intents and purposes. They're not separate and apart from one another. An iframe is basically an embed. You take the embed code and you go drop it somewhere else. And you use them to embed actually any document, video, map, presentation, or what have you, on any other place that will accept HTML coding. It's that simple. All major browsers with you know, Chrome, Explorer, Firefox, Safari, Opera support iframes. Here's a simple iframe tag, right? You go in and you insert this. Excuse me. I shouldn't have clicked on it, but you insert this, and it goes to Symantec. SymantecMastery.com is the source of the iframe. Very simple iframe, right? Very simple concept. And you can actually, if you don't know how to generate iframes, that's fine, because most Google properties and most of the other places where you can create iframes will give you the code to embed in other sites. And you can actually use an iframe, right, as the target for a link. So in both a simple iframe or an iframe as link target, you can actually set keyword relevancy, right? For example, the SEO time machine as a keyword anchor inside your iframe. And what this does is it carries relevancy back to the original source. That's what wherever you're sending it. This is why iframes won't get wherever it is that they're embedded hit, because all of the relevancy is being carried back to the original source of the iframe. And the keyword relevancy, whether you choose to make it exact match, broad match, whether you choose to make it brand or naked URL, all of that relevancy goes back. So the link target matches, the link opens in the iframe in this case. Or in the case of video iframe, what you open is the video, and you run the video in another website, but what's getting the credit is YouTube. And something that Bradley has also mentioned before is that when you start sending YouTube embeds, when you start spreading them, right, sending out all, you become I don't want to say Google publisher. You become yeah. I mean, more like a
publisher.
Google.
You're a publisher for Google at that point.
Because you're publishing Google's content.
That's correct.
And that's what they want you to do. They want you to spread their love around the world, because Google loves itself. Guys, Google loves itself. Please understand that. And it actually gets better, as you can see. You can embed other.
Just
Go
to
ahead.
add a little bit of clarification to that, and you know, the way I know that is the case because, and that those of you that are have IFTTT SEO Academy, either version 1 or version 2, the YouTube recipes, the recipes that we created for YouTube, you'll know that the ingredients of the recipe are just to syndicate the embed code and then a link to the video, like an actual backlink to the video URL, and then one to the channel or playlist. And the reason we do that is because I used to use an old PBN network that wasn't themed very well, something that I wouldn't use to link to my money sites anymore. Years ago, yes, but I had an old PBN network that was a bit outdated and not themed well. And so I started using that as a video syndication sites, or what I call video broadcasting sites, and so that I could get more embeds. But what happened was, at the time I was using recipes that would import the video description from within YouTube video as well. So it would create a blog post on the PBN sites with the video embed and in the video description, which would contain links and everything else. Well, during one of Google's rampages where they were out de-indexing sites, I had a rack of those sites de-indexed. But I had mixed in within that old PBN were some of my sites that I was embedding just the embed and just a backlink to the video and to the channel, which is how the recipes are set up now. All of those sites made it through. None of those got de-indexed. All the sites that had the video descriptions syndicated out as well were de-indexed. And so that's when it led me to believe, and then through additional testing I found that Google doesn't penalize broadcasting sites if all they're showing is a video embed and linking back to the YouTube property, if that makes sense. It's when you're starting to syndicate the video description along with all the links that are usually contained within the description that Google will call that a pure spam, give you a manual action, a pure spam penalty in Search Console. But all of the sites that I had just syndicated the embed and then a link to the YouTube video and or the channel, all of those have survived multiple rounds of Google de-indexing. So you're acting as a publisher and giving all credit to YouTube at that point. So it works out. Marco, we're seeing Slack right now.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry
So anyways,
about that.
I just wanted to kind of clarify that because that has been through lots of testing. And you know, when you're acting as a publisher for Google, they allow you to get away with a hell of a lot more.
There he goes again. All right. So, how does this get better? You can embed other files. An iframe can be used to embed numerous files like videos, but not exclusively YouTube videos. You can go into Vimeo, Facebook videos, Drive videos, S3 videos. The sky's the limit. You know, think of the power that you can manipulate if you can create what I call iframe stacks, because you can pull in maps, you can pull in presentations, you can pull in PDFs, you can pull in an entire page if you want, or even an entire website, which I used to do way back in 2005. By the way, just pull an entire website iframe into a subdomain. So right here, what people need to think is that you're only limited by your imagination, because you can go in, there's tutorials all over the place. I'm not going to get into a tutorial, of course, because we don't have enough time for me to teach you how to embed each and every file that you can possibly embed into another site. Just know that if you can manipulate the HTML in the destination, then you can manipulate iframe embeds, and you can double stack, you can send everything through and publish through Twitter or through actually any other site. The more that you publish, the more that you embed, the more relevancy that you carry back to the original source, which for you video marketing guys is your YouTube video, your YouTube playlist, and your YouTube channel. Everything that goes out comes right back, and the source, which I showed you, is actually what's given the credit when all of these publications take place. You as a Google publisher send the video out to these video embed networks, and then you get all of that relevancy and all that love back from Google, because you're doing them a favor by posting their content and their properties. But again, don't limit yourself to thinking that it's only Google. I mean, this is how you would influence Google this way, but it makes sense to embed other properties and to embed other videos other than YouTube for this, and to carry relevancy back and to carry power back, not necessarily to just what do you call it, to your YouTube channel, to other properties in your network that are branded, right, for your whatever your niche is. And
Now,
the way that you go ahead.
Marco, just for the people that maybe are sort of wondering what you're talking about, it's actually what Marco is meaning is that you can put links to other properties like your Facebook page or your Twitter or whatever actually in the iframe, like the video iframe, like you're going to share a video, you're going to put it into a blog, and you can actually put links into the iframe and even keywords into that iframe, and that kind of becomes like a link to those other properties. It sends relevancy and like kind of like a do-follow link back to those properties. Do I have that correct, Marco?
You have that absolutely correct. You can even get a schema markup in there, map schema.
Latitude, longitude, phone numbers.
Correct. Geolocation, NAP, right? Name, address, phone number. You can get that in anything that you can to create all of that relevancy coming back to whatever it is that you're doing.
Right.
And this is powerful. This is powerful. I mean, we've tested it for launch jacking. We've tested it for a whole bunch of things. We've tested it for reputation management. We've tested it just to rank client sites, and it works perfectly well. And it works.
Rank in the 3-pack too.
3-pack ranking in what, 15 days?
Under 15 days. It was 3 days from the time I verified the listing to the 3-pack, guys. It took under 10 days. The site was under 10 days old, and it's in the 3-pack already.
And that's we're not just telling you, that's a case study inside our Semantic Mastery Mastermind.
Yep. I've got the proof too.
Now let me move on real quick to JavaScript so that we can jump into questions and answers if anyone has any questions. Because I want you to see that anything you can do, literally with I want to see what I want you to see what a JavaScript link looks like, right? And let me know when you can see it, when it's opened up.
I can see your Blogger screen if that's what you're doing.
Yeah, that's it. Because if you go in here, you see where it says link? Mm-hmm. That's a live link. And let me go. It's just a live link to Semantic Mastery, and you can do it any way, right? You can look at you can manipulate the font, you can manipulate the color. There's Dr. Gary jumping in for questions and answers. Thank you, Dr. Gary. This doesn't work, and if it doesn't work, you can pop up a message. But basically, the code.
What is the difference between iframe and JavaScript? I'm not quite clear on that myself.
Yeah, I just explained. It's just simply the code, the way that you code this into the document.
Right.
Right, because it's just variable text, and the text will vary according to how you code it. It's small or bold or italic. That's all it is. Let's go back to what we're talking about. These are programming languages, JavaScript, right? HTML, PHP. And all we're talking about is that you can manipulate a link. Now I can eliminate all of that and just have this give me the link to wherever I want. I could just swap that out, right? YouTube.com. We're going to make it live, go to the test, and then if I refresh this.
I think you added a line break.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, if you look at it, you'll see the line break.
No. Let me see YouTube. Yeah, there it is. That's fine. That's why it broke.
It's in Spanish. I can't understand it. We're going to have to redo this webinar.
It's meant for you. So now that I swapped the link out, I'm in YouTube.
Well,
So you
that's
could do the
actually
same.
that's a very important point, Marco. Is that iframes apply to any language as well.
Yeah,
It's not just English. You know, if you can create an iframe, you can embed this anywhere.
now here's the thing, and why I'm showing you this in JavaScript. So now imagine that all of that I gave you, and what you have is anchor text to overlay into the JavaScript link, which won't count against your links, your do follow, no follow, and it won't be counted against you because it's JavaScript. It's totally different. Analytics link
I was going
doesn't
to say it
count.
doesn't even register as a link in like the link analysis tools, does it?
Correct.
That's right.
And
You can hide what you're doing.
It's do follow.
Yep.
Or it's treated as do follow. Right. I wish I could get more into JavaScript, but we're trying to keep this in under an hour. I only have about 5 minutes left before we get into questions and answers. But I just wanted you guys to see the type of stuff that's available. If you just dig a little bit, I mean, this is something where you just go in and look how do I don't know, Google it. How do I code JavaScript links? And
Right.
this tells you can get the exact match in there. And what you produce is this. Hello world. You can make your whatever you write in here an exact match keyword, right? Instead of hello world, make it whatever you want. Awesome videos by Tony Peacock, whatever. Again, you have to open your mind and you have to let your imagination just say, okay, all right, how am I going to approach this? How am I going to manipulate this? Of course, if you're a white hatter, you won't do any of this. Okay, and it's okay. Now you know what not to do.
Yeah.
But for everyone else that doesn't want to wait until Google decides to rank you wherever it's going to rank you, then guys, go take a look at this. Go take a look and see how do I code in a JavaScript link instead of an HTML do follow link, right? With exact match, but you can make it branded. You can make it all kinds of things. I mean, again, open your mind. Sky's the limit here with what you could do. Now, this is how you would code in just a video, right? An iframe video. And for those of you who are on Internet Explorer 8 or earlier, good luck to you. I have no idea what you would be using it, but what you would get back is this video tag isn't supported by IE8, and you will be told to upgrade. I just showed you JavaScript linking, and my message to you from this, and really your takeaway from this is think outside the box, man. Don't let Google limit what you're going to do because they're telling you it's against our TOS, and I'm going to punish you, and I'm going to sandbox you, and I'm going to have a little furry black animal nipping at your toes, right? Fuck Google, man. Google's my bitch, and I say it openly.
Usually, when Google says "don't do it," usually that's the sign that there's something that that you want to be doing it. If they say "don't do it," usually there's a reason why, because it's actually working.
All right, guys. So, if there's any questions, let's go ahead and take them.
All right.
Let me stop the screen share.
You have access to you've got access to the event page, right?
Do I?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, click on it because instead of me reading the questions to you, I'll tell you where to go. Though most of the questions are right near the top, up by the video, because everything else is just everyone making jokes, which are great, by the way, about you being rated by Google. Valerie, wait a minute. Let's see.
Valerie Tobin.
Can you give us an example of a link with iframe and schema?
I can. I'm not sure how I would get it to you, but.
Well, you can post. Well, I don't know. I don't know if the Google Plus event page would take that. It might strip the code when you try to post it.
Yeah.
You can go to pastebin.com if you want to type in code and share that pastebin link.
Okay. Hey, Gary, by the way.
Hey, Gary. What I will do is I can take a screenshot Um,
Yeah, that's funny. Shiny Object Reviews, which I believe is Jason,
Yeah,
says,
that's our Jason.
yeah, how many years has Google told us to stop building links? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When Google tells you to stop doing something, it means do more of it because it means it works really well and they don't want you to do it anymore. like guest posting, all the stuff that Google tells you not to do, it just means go do more of it. And whenever they tell me don't do this, I just do it until I can't do it anymore. So. All right, so everybody's asking for different types of iframe examples, and guys, there's no way we're going to get through all of that today. Okay, so
I can show some examples in the video marketing group later, but
yeah, and we can set up a separate webinar like for RYS and Mastermind and share all that. The stuff that I won't share, and I'm not going to share open examples. If you guys, it's all right there. Just Google it, and you can get it all. And just as I said, think outside the box. Don't be limited by what Google tells you could do. Just go out and do it. I always tell people, Art Williams is one of my favorite people, and his thing is just do it and do it and do it and do it again. And if it doesn't work, go back and you do it and you do it and you do it again and test it. That's what testing is all about. You test your theories. If they don't work, if you break something good, I'm glad the doc is here because he broke IFTTT. That's the culprit right there. He broke our IFTTT to Twitter, right?
Yeah. Richard has a question. He says, I would like to see an example of a blog post from a money site that includes different iframes that can then syndicate out with IFTTT. So I could, he's asking a question now, so I could create a blog post with iframe YouTube video plus YouTube channel plus schema NAP plus Gravatar. That includes all my branded properties. As far as I know, and you'd have to answer this, Marco or Gary, one of you guys, but as long as you can put the iframe in the post when you publish it, it should syndicate. Is that correct?
Correct.
Because as long as it's a standard iframe, it should syndicate. And in the RYS Academy, we show some examples of some sites that we've actually been able to syndicate the embedded Google Drive files, and they end up syndicating anyways. So that's again, it's just a matter of if the code is correct, it should syndicate. Some of the properties may strip it, but as far as I know, most of the blog properties will, which is where you get the full text syndication anyways, will actually still will still actually publish them.
Right, and Richard's a coder anyway, so he should be able to see, or he should be able to figure this out pretty easily from that. I think he's in RYS Academy too, and if he isn't, he should be, because he should be able to kill it with the coding that he does and RYS Academy.
Is that I just sent a screen capture. Can you see that, Bradley?
Where did you send it to? Oh, okay.
In the chat, I'm going to make it a public link. Anyone who has a link can view.
All right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the link and put that on the event page. Or did you already do that?
No, I didn't put it on the event page. I didn't think to do that, actually. Maybe
Here, I'll do that.
Okay. Then I can kind of quickly, because Valerie wanted to see an example, I can quickly go over what I did there.
So this is an example of just JavaScript, right?
No, that's actually an embed code with schema markup injected and the citations and everything actually in the iframe.
Okay.
Okay, so should I share my screen?
What do you got?
I've got this document open, but I don't know if she's
sure.
going to understand it.
Go ahead. We got about 25 minutes tops, guys, because I got a conference call at 2:30. So let's get through some of these questions. But yeah, please, Margaret, share your screen.
Let me make sure that that's the one. I don't want you guys in my porn movies.
So I'll quickly go over this. Basically, what this is, it's a Google business map, okay? And you can see the iframe. You can see the top left-hand corner says the word iframe, and then if you come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, you can see the word again, iframe. Now, in that iframe, I've actually spun keywords. Now, the guy is actually ranking in the map, but in that iframe also is the schema markup. So it shows that he's a local business, the business name, the website, his links to his citations. So these are kind of like do follow links, the postal address, the geo coordinates, and the phone number. And then I take that, and then you can see iframe down the very bottom, and I take that whole iframe, and now I embed that on 5,000 blogs, all to do with accountants and tax and IRS and you know, like,
yeah,
sorry,
like just financial industry stuff, right?
Well, like everything to do with the accountant niche, so that's all, you know, it's all relevant.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, what a person actually sees is they only see the map. They don't see all the keywords and all the links or anything like that. They just see the map in the blog. But Google reads this and follows those links and gives relevance to the iframe because it's got keywords in it as well.
Correct. What you're creating there is keyword relevancy. You're also creating, again, going back, and I don't want to step on his toes, but this provides a relationship to an entity. This is actually a person, right? It's a local business with this name. I mean, I said a person, but it's a thing, right? It's an attorney's office, and it's a tax attorney, and you have links all over. You have the same as schema in there. You have the geo coordinates. So you're creating all of this relevancy that you're driving back to that Google Map embed. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't gonna give this away, but I'm glad you did. I was gonna keep this to myself.
If you search for IRS tax attorney Houston, you'll see the guy's ranking in the map. So anyway,
Valerie asks, what tool are you using to create the schema?
I'm not using a tool. That's just a template.
Yeah.
But there are free tools that you can find on the internet.
No, but Valerie, you can also set up an Excel sheet or a Google sheet that will do this all for you.
Yeah, all you got to do is swap out the fields, and that's it, right?
Yeah. It's very simple. Do we have more questions?
Gina has a question. She says, when did you start RYS Academy? August of last year is when we opened it up to people to join. How many students approximately? I don't know. What do we got, like 300 in there? It's not even that much.
We have about 150.
Yeah, something like that. Somewhere it's. I'm looking at the Facebook group's got 113 members, but there's more people that just aren't active in the Facebook group. So, but yeah, it's not. We haven't sold a whole lot of them, which is actually good, to be honest with you. But
yeah, it just leaves more money on the table for me.
That's right. Is it well, and it keeps the 100 or so people that are in the group with that unfair advantage. Is it a one-time fee? Yes, it's a one-time fee. Is there a separate group for it? Well, there's a Facebook group as well as the membership, the training area, which is where all the training videos and everything is housed. Gina. Okay, let's see. Nerdgasm count 25. Let's see. RK says, for YouTube embeds, where should we add our keywords in the embed code? Right after the iframe tag, right?
Yeah, let me see.
Well, actually,
let's go back in here, and you would add it right in here, right before this closing script.
Yeah, there's two little arrows. There's I don't know what you call them, but this is a thing that people mostly don't understand. When they go and check a blog, they go, well, I can't see all the keywords. Well, you have to understand that when you're doing this, you're actually spinning the keywords. So one blog is going to get a keyword with file IRS taxes. The next blog is going to get another keyword with late payment penalty. So every single iframe that's being embedded on a different blog is going to be, tagged with a different keyword, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's if you're, but that's because you're using something like FCS Network or Money Robot or something where you can syndicate out that embed code and it'll unspin it, correct?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Basically, I'm embedding the map, but every time that map or that video gets embedded into the blog, because I'm spinning the keywords in the iframe, only one keyword gets tagged to that iframe, and so.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you were going to build one of these manually, one of these iframes like this, you wouldn't use
No,
spin
you wouldn't
code.
put spin keywords. You just put one keyword per iframe.
Guys, if you don't have a spinner, Excel or Google Sheets, best spinner outside of whatever spinners may be out there, you could use it to spin, guys. All you have to do is just work the formulas. That's it.
Right.
Daniel says, requesting mastermind posts with some examples, please. Yeah, Daniel, inside the mastermind, we can talk about this a little bit more, I suppose. I'd have to clear that with Marco and Dr. Gary because it should be mostly for the RYS group, but we'll talk about that a little bit. We got a mastermind this week, by the way. Dion says, how important is creating backlinks to post/pages that have iframes, and what should we know about backlinking to our published iframes?
Yeah, think about it. It acts like a do follow link, but it's not, right? And so if whatever link building you do to wherever that video, whatever it is that's posted, let's call it power. That power is going to flow back to the frame source. This is what I talked about before. This frame source is what's going to get everything back. Right? It won't be wherever the video is embedded or wherever the map or what, let's call it the property. Won't be where the property is embedded. It'll be the original source for the embed, right? So everything goes back to that. All of that power that you created, power, relevancy, it should be themed again, right? And trust and authority and sending all of these signals back, and then that from here it will carry to whatever it is that Google, that those sectors that we're trying to tickle. All of those signals will be read. I mean, and that's what we're trying to do, create these signals.
Gina says, thanks. Glad there's not that many students. This shit is awesome.
Thanks, Gina. You get it. You get it.
Yeah. A couple people are saying that example code that you guys are showing is missing an opening iframe tag. I don't know. There's three different comments about that already. So.
Let me see.
Maybe I've stuffed up, but
it says there's two closing iframe tags. That's why, and there's only one opening iframe tag.
Did I copy and paste that wrong or something, or what?
No, I'll have to take a closer look at this. I'm not looking at this real.
Well, you see how there's two closing iframe tags. There's one at the top at the end of the spin tax, like line 5, right? And then there's a closing iframe tag at the very, very bottom. See what I'm saying?
Ah, there it is, yeah.
So, anyways, just want to make sure that if people are trying to copy this, they're not getting one that's coded incorrectly. So,
okay, so we'll take a look through this and we'll set it up correctly.
Yeah, and then what we'll do, guys, is we'll just post Marco and Tony. Just remember this: once we get that corrected or whatever, we'll post the link again on this event page, so you guys can come back, in an hour or two, and it should be corrected. Does that make sense? Is that cool?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
All right. Any more questions? Because I know you got to go.
Yeah, I've still got 10 minutes. I mean, we're good. So, the code is right, guys. That's what Daniel says. So, I don't know. I'm not the coding guy, so don't ask me.
I thought it was correct myself, but with so many people, it's not.
Second guessing.
I'm second guessing myself.
Yeah.
But when I take that whole iframe code and I put it in to Money Robot, I mean, it works beautifully. And when I look at the code in the blog, it's all there. So
I'm seeing it fine, and the only question behind this is when you drop it into a place that accepts HTML, what's going to show? And I mean, I can.
Well, what shows is actually, maybe I can, while you guys are talking, I'll just see if I can dig something up. Hold on a second.
Well, if you look on the events page, Angel Cruise just dropped, I think, an edited version of it. I believe that's what Angel did. That's. If you take a look at that, I think you'll see what I'm talking about. That other iframe closing tag has been removed.
Okay.
The one
Thanks,
that was
Angel.
up around line 5, that's been removed.
Thanks, Angel. You rock. But the other one was working according to Tony. I haven't tested it, so and the stuff that I'm not gonna share. So sorry. I've shared about as much as I care to share right now.
Yeah,
The
stop
rest,
sharing.
Yeah, the rest goes to
Stop
we
sharing.
we always say what's inside RYS stays inside RYS.
But Tony twisted your arm, so.
Yeah, he did because there were a lot of questions, about the why and all this other stuff, and I said, well, his gigs work because he's doing the Google tickle.
Yeah, this is Angel says he's keeping it up for 30 minutes only. So copy, paste, and then delete, and then.
Thanks, Angel.
All right. I'm actually gonna make a copy of that, put it in a notepad file.
Yeah, this is actually part of. Steve asks, is this in IFTTT 2.0? No. RYS? Yes.
Yeah, several people have asked, or this question's come up a couple times. Is this covered in IFTTT v2? No, because that's not what that course is about, guys. That course is about syndicating content and creating seed sets, or essentially creating your own authority seed sets, right?
Right.
So it's different. That's different. This is covered inside of RYS. This kind of stuff is covered inside of RYS because it's for more advanced users. It's not something that a newbie would want to take, at least not right off the bat anyways.
I see where I've stuffed up. I mean, the code still worked, but I've got an extra iframe code in there that's not needed. The one up the top after the keywords.
Right.
I've got that in there, but it actually hasn't affected the code, strangely enough, because it was working. So thanks for that correction, Angel.
Yep.
But what's interesting is you can take this whole iframe with all that schema and everything, and then you can go and embed that into a blog that accepts HTML, and it's beautiful. And of course, when you're doing what I do, where there's 5,000 blogs across the whole niche, that's going to pump a whole heap of relevancy back to to the website, to the video, to the citations. And it just basically tells Google, hey, we understand what this particular asset is about.
You're creating the semantic relationship with all the other properties.
To answer your question, there's someone asking where the keyword goes, and I just posted it. It goes right before the closing iframe tag.
Yeah, between the script and the iframe, right down the bottom.
This is the closing iframe tag.
Yeah.
And that's where you would drop it in. You have all of the other code in here, the keyword just before the closing iframe tag, and it'll carry all of that relevancy back.
Yeah. One guy, he's been saying that because I basically took a whole bunch of keywords. I did some keyword analysis and took a whole bunch of keywords, spun the keywords, put it into the iframe, and then he was ranking for terms that he'd never ever ranked for, and he's getting up to 500 calls. He made that comment today. His phone's like ringing off the hook because he's ranking for so many different terms that he wouldn't otherwise rank for because he wouldn't normally target those other keywords. So I thought that was interesting.
I don't know if people are realizing how much power we've just given them. If you don't feel like going and doing all this work, guys, we have a done-for-you service. I said I wasn't going to pitch, but a lot of you aren't going to feel like doing this. Tony has gigs available. Reach out to him. Join the video marketing group. We have a done-for-you RYS service where we will build your stacks for you. right? We have that service. We have someone that does it up to semantic mastery standards, so you're not going to get garbage. I'll make sure that you don't get garbage because I don't appreciate when people give me garbage. And so just reach out to us. We're there, but I'm always in RYS Academy. I'm always in our mastermind. I'm always in masterclass, right? And for those of you who want to ask free questions, there's Hump Day Hangouts every Wednesday. It's free. That's not a pitch. It's free.
Yep. Yeah, there's obviously, when we get, obviously in Hump Day Hangouts, guys, if we can talk about stuff on a high level, conceptual level, but obviously to get into the nitty-gritty details, that's going to have to be reserved for either our mastermind or RYS Academy, one or the other. So just keep that in mind. There's a few additional questions, if you don't mind. Just reading through a couple more questions, guys. Get Dr. Gary, Marco, Tony, and then we're going to wrap it up in about 5 minutes, if that's okay.
I don't mind, man.
All right, let's see. There's a couple of them here. Will this be reposted? Are we going to make the replay available?
Not publicly, anyway.
Okay.
There will never be a public posting of this webinar ever, unless one of you guys shares it, and if I find you, I'm going to choke you.
All right. So there goes your answer. Let's see. Shannon says, when are we going to do an RYS so we can go over the stuff in detail, where to use and how to abuse it, etc.? I'm not sure I understand the question. When are we going to do an RYS?
RYS, does he mean in the RYS Academy group? Because if he does, that's in the works. I have to get together with Dr. Gary and see when we can get together and give you guys just something awesome that you can go put together and rank even better than you should be. Because again, Bradley did a mastermind case study where most of it was waiting for the verification. Correct me if I'm wrong, right, Pete?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's funny because I was actually just checking that in the Maps 3-pack. My main keyword now is in the 3-pack. It's in the C position. But my other two keywords, because there's 3 top-level keywords I was trying to rank for, the other 2 are both in the B position. So all 3 of my main terms are in the 3-pack now, which is awesome. And that site's, like I said, it took 3 days from the time that I verified the Google My Business listing to get for that to happen, for me to get in the 3-pack. And all I used was RYS methods, absolutely nothing else. I used 100% Google properties and ranked in the 3-pack in 3 days. Absolutely.
No backlinks.
Yep. Okay, so Shannon, just to clarify, we will post this replay inside of RYS Academy as well as inside the Mastermind. As far as publicly, I don't know that we're going to repost it anywhere publicly, but inside of our groups we will do that. Okay? Let's see. Yes, Angel says to verify your code, just go look at the structured data testing tool. That's exactly right. Just go test it in the structured data testing tool, guys. Should we iframe our money site into a PBN post? That's a question for you guys. Somebody.
What was the question again?
Should we iframe our money site into a PBN post?
Yeah, because the relevancy will carry back. It's not a link. It's not a link that's gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would do the money site, but I would certainly do the syndication network. That will carry all of that relevancy back to the money site. YouTube, yes. The answer is absolutely yes. Any Google property, anything that can stem the abuse, yes. Money site that you haven't created an entity for, no. Maybe I'll keep people from getting into trouble that way.
Okay. What video marketing group? Daniel, that's video marketing group in Facebook. That's Tony's Facebook group.
I just put a link in the chat.
Okay. In chat or on the event page?
Sorry, in the event page.
Okay.
Yeah, and he also posted a link to RYS Academy in case anyone's wondering. Tony has the links, guys, to whatever you need if you're looking.
Some people have asked about the gigs, and I've just put embed gigs, and I've created some Google Sheets for them to see. I mean, just so that they know, I've got over 500,000 Web 2.0s themed in batches, minimally usually of 5,000 plus for each of the different niches. So if you're looking to embed something, I have, I just have a couple of things available that you can embed your maps and videos in.
And RK has a question. He says that we made a G site or something like that, our business site. Yes, we did. We actually allow Google to cloak our domain into G site. So yes.
Yeah, that's what I did with my case study that I just did last week for the local case study using RYS methods in the 3-pack. It was just I used a Google sites.google.com, and I used my own custom domain with it though, and boom, in the 3-pack in 3 days. So Christopher says, what about iframing your own website within your website? Would that cause a spider loop? That's like a, you know how when you have a mirror in a mirror, like when you do Hangouts and you click on the share screen and it goes like picture and picture and picture and picture all the way down? I wonder if it's doing the same thing with that. So what is your answer on that? If you iframe your own website within your own website, does that cause like a...
My answer to that is it's not going to cause a spam penalty.
Okay. But it might tear a hole in the fabric of space-time.
Right? Yeah, man, you know, I would say test. That looks really good. It's basically what I was doing is I would iframe in a subdomain is how I would do, or how I was doing this. I would say just test it, man. You have an idea, go and test it and see how well it works, and then just hammer it. If it works, hammer it. Hit it some more, and give it some more Google love.
All right, it looks like we got one more question, guys, and then I got to go because I got a conference call that starts in 4 minutes. So,
Yeah.
Richard says, by the way, what does RYS cost? It's $11.97, guys. Let's see, I'm in IFTTT v2. What do you suggest, RYS? Well, of course we're going to suggest it because all the nasty stuff you can do with it. If you guys are serious about, I mean, like, it's insane what you can do with just Google properties and how you can get, like, incredible SEO benefit from it. And again, I just proved it with another case study last week. Says Mastermind or Masterclass. No, even Mastermind, because it's above $300. If you join Mastermind, you'll get a 30% discount, but it's not free. It's not included. Anything under $300 that we launch or release or have released is included in Mastermind at no additional cost. Anything over $300 is a 30% discount. Okay?
Yeah, but I will add that if you are in the Mastermind, you get direct access to us.
That's correct.
I mean, to all 5 of the Semantic Mastery partners, instead of, like, whenever we have time to jump into IFTTT 2.0, for example, in the Facebook and answer, we are all of the time answering questions in the Mastermind for Masterclass. So I mean, one of the benefits is direct access. RYS Academy, you get direct access to the Mad Doctor, Gary Kerwin, and I.
Yeah, but I mean, remember the Mastermind. It's not just the access to us; it's the access to all the other SEO and marketing agency professionals in our group, which is invaluable in my opinion. So,
the RYS Academy is actually all the stuff Google doesn't want you to know about.
That's correct. Yep. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, it looks like and Joseph Hannon, he's been commenting, and Joseph is one of our members who is quite proficient in all this stuff, and so that's awesome. Thanks, Joseph, for helping today. Shiny Object Reviews, that's Jason Quinlan. Yeah, he was one of our first RYS groupies, and he's been a big supporter of it ever since. So that's awesome. Okay, guys. If there's no other questions, actually, I've got to wrap it up anyway. So we appreciate everybody being here. We'll post the replay inside the RYS group, the Mastermind group, and I'm assuming, Tony, you're going to want to post it in your group as well, correct?
Yeah, I don't know if I can upload the whole video actually into the group. I'll work something out.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if Facebook will let me, but maybe I'll upload it onto the channel and create an unlisted link or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I think you should be able to do it. Why can't you? Is there a limit on time?
I don't know. I've never uploaded a huge video file, so I'm
Find
not
out.
sure. Yeah. well, I'll let you know. But thank you for your time. Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Gary. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to, to put on this webinar and actually share some of the some of this brilliant SEO knowledge.
Yeah, keep it amongst yourself, guys. Just don't go share that shit freely. If you're gonna
yeah.
share it, charge for it.
Go make money. I'm serious. Just go make money with it. You have the knowledge. You should be able to apply it. Go make some freaking money, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take care, guys.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Hey, Gary. Gary didn't get to contribute much, but thanks for showing up anyway.
I was like Batman. I swooped in at the end.
And take all the credit.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. See you later.
Okay. See ya.
We're out.
Bye.